Ben Jackson with you through until midday today. It's whizzing past today, isn't it? Now, when you get married, a wedding ring tends to be the preferred symbol of marriage. You might get a tattoo as a symbol of your relationship, maybe. But a new craze is seeing people get a piercing on their ring finger. Jenova runs a piercing and body modification studio in Leicester and joins us now. Jenova, morning.
Hello, Ben. How are
Hi.
you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'd never heard of this, but apparently it's a real craze.
It is, yeah. It's an odd one, isn't it? I mean, crazes kind of come and go all the time. And bizarrely, the first one of these I did was actually about 10 years ago now.
Really?
Yeah, and it kind of, as with other things, sort of falls out of favour. People forget about it a little bit, and then it comes back around again. But yeah, it's interesting to see it all back in social media again.
It's funny how these things come. How does a finger
popular.
piercing work? It doesn't go right through the middle, does it?
No, the amount of people I've had that kind of, because I've actually got one in my forearm, and the amount of people that kind of flipped my arm over to sort of have a look at the back
Really?
to see if it's coming out the other side. Brilliant. But no, it's just on the surface. It's very, very shallow. It goes about 2 millimetres into the skin. We make a tiny little incision for that. So it's got a little, almost like a back plate, if you will. So the back plate, gem on the top, and the gem just screws in on top. So you can actually change the tops as well if you wanted to.
And how long does it stay in for?
Well, now that's the thing that's sort of debated with it in the finger. So the one that I have in my arm, I've had in there probably about 8 years with no issues whatsoever. Because it's quite sort of tucked out the way, you don't really get knocked and caught in that area. But on the finger, of course, anytime you put your hand in your pocket or you go through your bag or even just getting dressed, to be honest, you're going to knock it all the time. So unless you're sort of permanently aware and very, very careful of it, or, if you're lucky enough to not be doing too much with your hands, if you've got a maid and a chef and everything else, then maybe you're absolutely fine with it.
So would you, I mean, the impression I'm getting is that you wouldn't necessarily encourage people to do it.
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I do try and, same with any piercing or any procedure that I perform, I give everyone all the pros and cons, as it were, and just let them make their own decision, really. And I do point out this is one of the ones that is less likely to heal. Most people will only get about 2, maybe 3 months out of these before it's getting a bit sore and definitely needs to come out.
And that's because your fingers are in stuff all the time, presumably. So as a wound, it's going to be constantly sort of nagging away, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not ideal.
And what do people have? Just a little gem?
Yeah, that's it. You can get all different colours. I've got a little clear diamond-looking gem in my arm. But yeah, you can get stars as well. You can get little spikes, all sorts. Same as the variety of most body jewellery, really. There's something for everyone. Now,
I know that you spent quite a lot of time, I think, with Lobe Reconstructions. That was I think that's sort of slightly gone away. It was a big fashion up until a couple of years ago, wasn't it, to sort of have these extended earlobes? But people now want them stitched back together again. Is that right?
That's it, yeah. I'm getting my value out of that craze. All the people that I helped stretch their ears about 10 years ago are now looking for careers or changing careers or... and actually a lot of it's to do with army applications or Navy and RAF and that sort of thing. Obviously for health and safety reasons, they can't even have even 2 millimetre holes. So, yeah, so most of the work I do nowadays is earlobe reconstruction or repair.
How do you do that?
Well, I suppose the simple explanation of that is with a scalpel and some sutures.
Ew, I wish I'd never asked that.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. Everyone has that same reaction. But yeah, we have to take out the damaged tissue. It's as simple as that. Remove the damaged tissue and the scarring and then get the healthy tissue back together in a nice, reasonable earlobe shape.
And does that go back together quite nicely? I mean, does it look like people have modified the earlobes afterwards?
Well, I mean, that's my aim, is to get it looking as good as possible to the point that people hopefully can't tell. There's always going to be a little bit of scarring, but you'd have to look really, really closely at that to tell.
That's amazing.
And it varies quite a lot. I mean, some of these holes, they're big enough that I could put my arm through them. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, come on.
Some of them do.
No.
They do take a little bit more, attention to get those look in a decent shape afterwards. Yeah,
and I suppose the thing is, it's more difficult. I mean, lots of people can kind of do all sorts of things, and they might change their minds in the future. And in most cases, it's not too difficult to decide you don't want, I don't know, pierced earrings or whatever. But actually, it does require often requires a surgical sort of intervention to get it all back together again.
Exactly that. Yes, this is a minor surgical procedure. Yeah, exactly that. And, at the time, you don't really think about it. I'm the same. I've got little 10 mil holes in mine. I'm just glad I never went bigger than that now that I'm seeing all these holes I'm having to repair. I'm thinking, thank goodness I didn't go bigger than 10s.
Jenova, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for coming on the programme for us this morning. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, Ben.
Thank you, Jenova. See you soon. Bye. There are Jenova Rain, runs a piercing and body modification studio in Leicester. Talking about this real craze at the moment. Well, I say it's a craze for not having a wedding ring, but having a little piercing on your finger. She also does all sorts of other things, like puts like a magnet in your finger, so you can pick bits of metal up with a little tiny magnet just underneath the skin. Maybe we'll catch up with her again in the future. I'm not having anything done. I'm telling you that for nothing. News for you in a minute or two at 11 with Joe.